Hey there, music maker. In today's video, we're going to be checking out the chords to the classic swing tune, Right or Wrong. This one was a hit in the 1920s, but later revived by Bob Wills and made a standard in Western swing circles in the 1930s and 40s. If Western swing is the style of music you want to get into, you're in the right place. Stick around. Hey there, music maker. My name's Griffin, and welcome to Mandolin Secrets. Before we dive into the lesson today, if you haven't had a chance, hit that subscribe button below and the bell notification button. That way you'll get notified whenever we upload a lesson here to the channel. Also, if you're interested in tab and sheet music for this tune or any of the exercises we do here on the channel, go ahead and click that link below in the description to Mandolin Secrets Academy. There you'll get access to all sorts of educational materials, including backing tracks and live monthly Q&A calls with me and Magnus. Before we talk about any of the techniques that are needed to play the chord changes here today, let's go ahead and see what this tune looks like at full tempo, just so you can get an idea for how the melody sounds in relation to the chord changes. Now that you've heard how the chord changes sync up with the melody to this tune, let's talk about some of the techniques that we'll need to execute these chord changes. The chords to this tune are pretty interesting in that mostly, like a lot of early swing tunes, the chord progression is a series of 5-1 resolutions. So for example, we're going from E to A to D to G first. If you look at those relationships, E is the fifth of A is the fifth of D is the fifth of G. This is a real common type of chord progression that you're going to find in jazz music. And the chord progression doesn't necessarily stick to that relationship strictly, but most of the chord progressions are a chain of 5-1 resolutions today. So before we dive into learning how to play rhythm for this tune, let's review those chord shapes real quick. The first shape that we're going to use here today is what I like to call the triangle 7th chord shape. So we're going to do an E7 with our middle finger starting at the 7th fret of the G. Then the finger and fret numbers up there, it's going to be middle on 7 of G, index on 6 of D, and ring on 7 of A. Then for the A7 chord next, we just take these bottom two fingers here and move both of them down a fret, leaving that ring finger where it is. So fret numbers from low to high would be 6, 5, 7. And if you know your fingerboard pretty well, you'll notice that there's no root note inside of this A7 chord. It's just a 3rd, 7, and a 5. Real common voicing for 7th chords on the mandolin. The next chord that we're doing is a D7 chord, and you'll notice it's just that E7 shape, but back 2 frets. Fret numbers being 5, 4, 5. And then for our G6 chord, we're going to do 4, 2, 5. Another rootless inversion of this chord. This one ends up being the 3rd, the 6th, and the 5th. Now the only other chord that you need to learn here for today's exercise is the B7 chord. And guess what? It's just that triangle shape, only with our middle finger on the 2nd fret, 1st fret, 2nd fret again. So with all those chord shapes, we're now kind of prepped to dive into the tune, but let's talk about the right hand for a second. I've chosen in today's lesson to give what I like to call a Freddie Green style of accompaniment. Freddie Green was a guitar player for Count Basie, but his style of articulation and attack in the right hand is what we're using here today. So you'll notice that it's simply just marking out each quarter note in a measure of music. If we're counting along, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be like a Freddie Green style of accompaniment. If you listen really closely though, you'll notice that on 1 and 3, I'm giving like kind of a softer emphasis and articulation, and then on beats 2 and 4, I'm giving a more aggressive attack. And there are a few ways that I kind of manipulate that. One is by using the left hand fingers to dampen the strings and close the notes off before I set my pick through to hit the next beat. So it's 1, 2. And you can see I'm lifting my left hand fingers. Not lifting them off the strings, but simply lifting them off the fret to dampen the strings. So that's one way that I kind of get this articulation. Another way that I manipulate time and space here is on beats 1 and 3. I typically target the bottom 2 strings or courses, so the G and the D courses. And then on 2 and 4, I allow my right hand to kind of go down through 3 of them. So it sounds a little bit like this. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this isn't the only style of rhythm accompaniment that you can use for swing and jazz mandolin, but I think it's a great place to start. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into right or wrong here. I'm going to show you a version of the chord changes at 200 beats per minute, and then we're going to dial things down by half speed. Let's go ahead and dive in. All right, my friend, there you have it. The fast version of the chords to right or wrong. Let's go ahead and slow things down a bit so you can see exactly what's going on my left and right hands, and we'll attack a version at 100 beats per minute. Let's dive in. you have it, my friend. The chord changes to the swing and western swing tune, right or wrong. Like I said, this is a staple in the western swing circle, so if that's a genre of music you're interested in, this is definitely one that you gotta know. If you enjoyed today's lesson, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below and the bell notification button, and also check out the link to Mandolin Secrets Academy if you want those PDFs of the tab and sheet music. Thanks so much for checking this video out today, my friend. I hope you have a lot of fun with right or wrong. We'll catch you in the next video.